TJ, is the paper in the Senate's good graces?
You know, it's too soon to tell, Emily. At this point, the Kansan is optimistic they'll get funding, but it might be in a different way than they're used to. The Senate will decide on funding on March 20th. That will determine if the UDK needs to find money elsewhere. If it fails to renew Senate funding, it could seek a solution through KU student referendum. In the newsroom, TJ Rowe, KUJH News.
But occasionally, cars are ignoring the temporary cones and street signs here too. That is why the city is asking for drivers and cyclists feedback to see how this new concept is going. I spoke with over 10 convenience stores in Lawrence, including Quick Shops, Miller Marts, and Phillips 66. None of which said that they felt a need for enhanced security, and they all feel comfortable inside their stores now.
National new and used car sales have been on the decline for the past couple years, and KUJH reporter TJ Rowe says Lawrence is pretty much following the trend.
National website DealerQ says 2019 is in gear to be one of the most competitive car markets ever. U.S. new and used auto sales peaked in 2016 when over 17 million vehicles were sold. However, sales dropped 2% in 2017 and then another 2% in 2018. We can expect new car sales to continue the downward trend this year. However, used car sales are actually on the rise. Laird Noller General Sales Manager Dan Aiden says the Lawrence market is seeing just that.
We've seen a decline in new car sales. When that happens, the used car market goes up, so the used car market will slow down. We don't start picking back up until usually March, which is around tax time.
He also says new car sales peak during the holiday season each year, but used car sales are beginning to spike now. He says this is a typical trend to see in the springtime for two reasons: the auto show and tax refunds. These help lead buyers to used car lots, resulting in an increase in sales. Aiden says his lot saw a 25% increase in used sales during March. In Lawrence, KUJH News, I'm TJ Rowe.
The auto show refocuses the attention of potential buyers onto cars, and tax refunds put a little extra money in their pockets, allowing them to put a down payment on a used car.
Quick Trip wants to assist law enforcement by adding an armed security guard for each store. A Quick Trip spokesman says police are overwhelmed in cities like Tulsa, Phoenix, and Dallas. KUJH reporter TJ Rowe says local convenience stores don't find the extra step necessary.
But Lawrence convenience stores say they feel safe with the way things are now. A clerk at the Circle K convenience store on 23rd Street says she always feels at ease when working there, and a few customers say they feel the same way. One customer says he only goes during the day just to be safe.
No, I've lived in Lawrence a few years now, and I just know I never really feel unsafe. I just know not to go to the ones that are open 24 hours and go to it like late at night, really.
I spoke with over 10 convenience stores in Lawrence, including Quick Shops, Miller Marts, and Phillips 66. None of which said that they felt a need for enhanced security, and they all feel comfortable inside their stores now. NeighborhoodScout.com compiles violent crime data on every U.S. address. It reports Lawrence is safer than 17% of U.S. cities, while Dallas is safer than just 9%, Phoenix 7%, and Tulsa 2%. The violent crime rate per 1,000 people is just under 3% in Lawrence, more than 7% in Dallas, more than 7% in Phoenix, and more than 10% in Tulsa. In Lawrence, the odds of being a victim of a violent crime are just 1 in 371, compared to Phoenix's 1 in 130, Dallas's 1 in 129, and Tulsa's 1 in 95. Quick Trip doesn't know when to expect armed security in stores, but they are taking steps in that direction. In Lawrence, KUJH News, I'm TJ Rowe.
There have only been 2 convenience store holdups in Lawrence the past 2 years, and the most recent one in October of last year.
Notre Dame has provided a place of worship for millions over the past 850 years. It's a structural icon. KUJH reporter TJ Rowe says it turns out the cathedral has a closer connection to KU than you might think.
2 degrees of separation. That's all there is between KU and the infamous Notre Dame Cathedral. The connection? Spooner Hall. Henry Van Brunt constructed the hall, and he was the first to publish collections of Eugene Emmanuel Viollet-le-Duc's design principles in English. Viollet-le-Duc was a French architect who restored Notre Dame after the French Revolution. KU Architecture Associate Professor Steve Paget says Notre Dame and Spooner Hall are connected through the architects.
Through his work, through Van Brunt's work, which is now still a living thing, if you will, on this campus, through Spooner, It's only 2 jumps until we've got to Notre Dame.
The Natural History Museum is resculpting its eroded limestone grotesques using the same process that Notre Dame will undergo soon. The New York Times says Notre Dame's architectural design left it with a finite amount of time before catching fire. The dry wood beams in the attic, along with years of dust and debris, led to the collapse of the roof and spire. But the rest of the stone structure withstood the fire. KU architecture professor Kent Spreckelmeyer says he is surprised there was nothing in place to contain the fire.
Had the fire continued to burn at high temperatures, that would have affected the ability of the stone to stand up. I was kind of surprised because I would have thought they would have had some system so it wouldn't spread so rapidly.
French authorities chose not to install fire safety measures because it's tough to preserve such a monument when applying safety regulations. In Lawrence, KUJH News, I'm TJ Rowe.
French President Emmanuel Macron says he wants to rebuild the cathedral in 5 years. Both KU architecture professors say that's a bit ambitious.